Did you know that a staggering number of lottery winners end up completely broke just a few years after hitting the jackpot? I know, it's a wild statistic, but it perfectly highlights exactly what we're diving into today: the psychology of money, wealth building, and those sneaky, unseen mental barriers that hold so many of us back. We're drawing our insights directly from the stealth wealth analysis on the psychology of people who stay poor. We're going to unpack the hidden patterns, those deeply ingrained habits, and the belief systems that quietly govern our financial lives. So if you've ever found yourself wondering why some folks seem permanently stuck in the exact same financial cycle while others just quietly achieve real financial freedom, well, you're in the right place.
Now consider this. What if your job isn't actually the problem? Look, it's incredibly common and honestly very natural to just point the finger at external things when money gets tight. We blame the paycheck, we blame the crazy cost of living in our city, or we blame the broader economy. But the source material we're looking at today challenges that core assumption head-on. It asks us to look at a much tougher, yet totally empowering reality. What if the real reason you're struggling is actually your psychology? What if the biggest barrier isn't out there in the world, but right up here in your head?
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the hidden wealth trap. Hidden belief systems and habits quietly keep you stuck. Now, right off the bat, I want to make something super clear. This explainer is absolutely not about shaming anyone. Not at all. It's entirely about building awareness. We're talking about unconscious patterns that we just absorb from our environment. Think about it. If you grew up constantly hearing things like money doesn't grow on trees or rich people are greedy, well, your brain was basically hardwired for financial stress before you even cashed your very first paycheck. And the thing is, you can't break out of a maze if you don't even realize the walls are there. But once you start to understand the underlying psychology of your money habits, that is when you finally unlock the power to make a massive shift. A huge piece of those invisible walls is scarcity thinking. Basically, this is a deeply ingrained mindset that focuses almost entirely on immediate lack rather than long-term abundance and growth. When you're operating from a place of scarcity, your brain goes into full-on survival mode. Get this, research actually shows that scarcity thinking can lower your functional IQ. It forces your brain to put blinders on, tunneling your vision purely on surviving today, which means you entirely miss the long-term solutions right in front of you. It turns out, this specific mindset puts a ceiling on your wealth-building potential way more than your actual salary ever could.
Moving right along to Section 2, Anatomy of Scarcity Thinking.
Think about this stark contrast between these two mentalities. Just imagine two people. They live in the exact same city, work in the same industry, and take home the exact same pay. Person A operates with a poor mindset, fixating on what they don't have. They're focused on short-term survival, literally just trying to make it to next Friday, and they actively avoid all risk because they're terrified. But person B operates with a wealth mindset. Their brain is tuned to spot opportunity. They're focused on long-term growth, and crucially, instead of running away from risk, they actually seek to understand it and manage it. These two hypothetical people are going to experience completely different financial realities, and it is entirely dictated by the psychological lens they're looking through.
This brings us to an absolutely crucial point from the source. The biggest upgrade isn't your income, it's your identity. Most of us naturally assume that if we could just get a raise, all our money problems would magically vanish, right? But here's the catch. If your identity is still rooted in a broke mindset, your brain will creatively find a way to make that extra money disappear. Usually it's through some highly justified, I absolutely need this right now impulse purchase. Real, lasting transformation? It goes so much deeper than the digits in your bank account. It requires fundamentally rewiring how you view yourself and your relationship with value.
So how do we rewire? Let's get into Section 3, Financial Literacy over Motivation.
To really bridge the gap between where you are now and true financial freedom, we have got to stop relying on fleeting motivation. Come on, we've all been there. It's 2 a.m., you're watching this incredibly inspiring video, you're hyped up, and you swear you're going to start a business or stick to the super strict budget tomorrow. Fast forward to 7 a.m., you hit snooze 5 times and fall right back into your old routine. The source material warns heavily against this trap. Look, motivation is just an emotion, and emotions fluctuate. You literally cannot build a lifelong wealth strategy on something as shaky as a temporary feeling. What you actually need instead is financial literacy. And hey, I'm not just talking about knowing how to balance a spreadsheet or read a stock chart. According to the source, real financial education actually starts in the mind. True financial literacy is infinitely more powerful than motivation because it fundamentally changes how you view the world. It turns smart financial decisions into an automatic reflex rather than this painful chore you have to force yourself to do.
When you truly get how money works, you don't need a hype video to make the right moves. It just becomes a natural part of who you are.
It ultimately boils down to mastering the true mechanics of wealth. Number 1, understanding opportunity, training your brain to spot open doors where everyone else just sees dead ends. Number 2, managing risk, rather than just running away from it in fear. Number 3, building discipline. And number 4, this is a big one, mastering delayed gratification, which really just means being willing to sacrifice that quick, fleeting thrill today for ultimate, permanent freedom tomorrow. These 4 mechanics are the absolute foundational pillars you need to finally stop thinking small.
Let's bring it all together in Section 4, Upgrading Your Financial Identity. So, what does this psychological journey actually look like? It happens in 3 distinct steps. First is awareness. This is the wake-up call, where you realize your own hidden habits are the exact things keeping you poor. Step 2 is financial literacy. This is where you actively educate your mind on those mechanics we just talked about: opportunity, risk, and discipline. And finally, step 3, the identity upgrade. This is the magic moment where your internal self-image perfectly aligns with your new financial knowledge. Good money management isn't just a side project anymore, it's simply who you are at your very core.
A massive outcome of this mental upgrade is adopting what's called the stealth wealth strategy. It's all about quietly escaping the rat race. Because true wealth psychology, it is absolutely not about buying the loudest, most expensive luxury car just to prove to your high school friends that you've made it. Ironically, that flashy behavior is a classic textbook symptom of the broke mindset. The stealth wealth approach means focusing on actual, quiet, long-term success. It's about becoming the quiet millionaire next door, where your deep internal financial security completely replaces any urge to seek external validation.
So how do we put this into practice every single day? Here are your daily identity upgrades. First, embrace continuous self-improvement. Keep growing. Second, consistently deepen your personal finance knowledge. Third, and this is crucial, adopt a long-term perspective. Try consciously filtering every single choice through a 10-year lens. Ask yourself, how is today's purchase going to impact me a decade from now? And fourth, you have to actively discard the broke mindset the exact second you feel those old familiar habits creeping back in. These deliberate daily actions are what firmly separate the people who keep struggling from the people who have truly mastered the psychology of wealth.
So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Your income can change, but has your identity. You could literally win the lottery tomorrow, but if your internal psychological wiring is still tuned to scarcity, that money is eventually going to vanish. Real wealth always begins in the mind. Take a little time today to really examine your own financial identity. Are you building stealth wealth, or are you quietly decorating the cage of your own financial trap? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep upgrading that mindset, and I will see you next time.